It would not be like Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs to announce their 53-man roster fashionably late. But here we are. We have it. So let's dissect it. We're going to go through the cuts. We're going to go through the acquisitions, and I'm going to give you all of my thoughts. Now with that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. The Kansas City Chiefs 53-man roster is here. Their initial roster is here. What does that mean is we're going to see a lot of transactions. We're still going to see a lot of moves going back and forth. So this isn't set in stone. We're going to see it change through the life until the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Baltimore Ravens week 1. And then it goes on through the season with trades, cuts, acquisitions. It's an ongoing process, but today we're zoning in on that initial roster. So let's dissect it. And what I mean by dissecting it is I'm not going to go into full detail of every 53 players on this roster. Chiefs Kingdom, I already know you did that. I already know you had your time. You made sure of who you like, who you didn't like. What I'm doing, I'm going to go through the key cuts. I'm going to go through the key acquisitions, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. And then we're going to have fun. Y'all can jump in the comments and let's have a good time. So let's start it off with the acquisitions because of late last night. And I mean late last night because I was dead asleep. But the Kansas City Chiefs made a trade with the Arizona Cardinals for linebacker Cam Thomas in exchange for their next year's 7th round pick. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a little, and I mean a little bit, to figure out who Cam Thomas was. And then I remembered, hold up, I had a man crush on him coming out of the draft. I loved what he did at San Diego State. He is a really, really good pass rusher. But then why would the Arizona Cardinals trade him? Because his college career hasn't yet translated into the NFL, into his pro career. Now, we hope that changes as he is a Kansas City Chief now. And if Brett Veach, if Coach Reed, and Steve Spagnuolo can make Cam Thomas, at best, a rotational pass rusher, the Kansas City Chiefs win this trade. If you could have someone who comes in and out with Mike Dana, George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, that would be huge. And you just have him go after the quarterback. And Spags loves his guys that just go out and be a dog and get the quarterback. And Cam Thomas has got that in his blood. Once he gets this defense down, I think he can be a fun name to watch. He could be very similar to a Mike Dana, where you see him come in on 2nd and 3rd down and you're like, oh, he's out there for blood and he's out there to get after the quarterback. It's not going to translate early, so let's not get crazy. But mid-season to late season, I can see Cam Thomas racking up a couple sacks and we're like, okay, this is why they went after him and got a trade. I really, really like this acquisition. But you really think Brett Veach was done there? Not a shot. So earlier in the day, Chiefs Kingdom, as I was zoned in on social media, not just watching the Kansas City Chiefs roster moves, but all other 31 teams. And Chiefs Kingdom was clamoring when they saw that the Dallas Cowboys were on the verge of releasing tight end Peyton Hendershot. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I didn't know who the hell he was. But if Chiefs Kingdom loves him, that means, hey, he must be a good player. Let's pause that real quick. I think Chiefs Kingdom wants to sign anyone in any who to make any position better. Shoot, if I was out there, they may like me, but I may have been a problem in 2015. Now I have problems. But that's not the fact. What we are zoning in on, we got a new tight end. A tight end number 4 to be exact, as the Kansas City Chiefs also released Irv Smith. So what do I make of Peyton Hendershot? Like I said, I don't know much, but I did see some tape on him, and he does look like a good physical threat. He's got good hands, but where he's going to translate for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024, he's going to be a Dave Tope kind of guy. He excelled in special teams, and we know Dave Tope loves his guys. So expect to see him making plays as a gunner and going out on punts and kickoff returns, and getting the returner. And at the end of the day, if you make special teams better, you make the team better. So I'm all for it. Now let's get to the unfortunate part. Let's get to the hard part. Let's get to the doom and gloom. Because when making a 53-man roster, you gotta make cuts. And this is the most unfortunate part, where you are gonna lose some key players and some players that Chiefs Kingdom has fallen in love with, but it's the name of the game. And the first player I'm gonna start with is Chiefs Kingdom wasn't a huge fan favorite of him, but it is officially official as the Kansas City Chiefs have released Kadarius Toney. I think we all knew the writing was on the wall. Last year it was very, very brutal for Kadarius Toney. It's like anything he could do would go wrong, and there was just not getting on the right path. And then you would hope coming into minicamp, training camp, and preseason, maybe he could find himself, maybe he could find new life in this offense and just put last year behind him. But that was never the case, where he saw few snaps in training camp, he saw few snaps in preseason, and at the end of the day, they even tried to get him into another package to be a running back. That right there lets you know it was slim to none that he wasn't going to make this team. And the Kansas City Chiefs even tried to trade him, but of course they could not find a trade partner. How I'm going to remember Kadarius Toney is it was a roller coaster ride. It was up and down with a lot of unfortunate downs. But when he first came in, he made highlight-worthy plays. And then the Super Bowl, how could we not forget? He had the longest punt return in history to help seal that game and put Kansas City in position to get another ring. Now, I don't want to focus too much on the negative, but it's there, and that's why he is not a Chief. I do wish him the best, but unfortunately, it just didn't all work out. And he wasn't the last wide receiver that the Kansas City Chiefs cut today, as another fan favorite, a huge fan favorite, and Justyn Ross will no longer be a Kansas City Chief. And I know this is going to be a tough, and I mean tough pill for Chiefs Kingdom to swallow, because they see the potential there, and so do I. But after 3 years, it just didn't translate into what we all wanted to see it. Whether it be not learning the system, whether it be not being put in great positions to succeed, whether it not just be, producing out there, it just didn't all line up, and it was all unfortunate. To me, I know Chiefs Kingdom is hoping to get him back on the practice squad. I just want him to go out there, find a new team, and find new life, and be a good wide receiver in this league, because unfortunately, I don't think it would be with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't think he's the kind of receiver that fits with the Chiefs. I know it sounds crazy because you think, well, any receiver could fit with Patrick Mahomes. But when was the last time we've seen someone of his stature, go-get-him kind of receiver fit in this offense? If not one, if not ever, it just doesn't happen. I know it's a pipe dream that Chiefs Kingdom wants to see, but right now, it's not reality. So it's unfortunate, but it's a chapter that we are moving on from. And another one we will have to close, and this one hurts me so deeply. And I know it was a long shot, but the Chiefs also did release Nico Remijo, and I thought he had a really good chance. Maybe not for his production at the wide receiver position, but he really became a Dave Toub kind of guy. And I thought if anyone was going to get him on this roster, it would be Toub on special teams. That wasn't the case. Now I'm hoping on the other instance where, unlike Ross, that Remijo does come onto the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad, because he does got a lot to learn. He is a guy who fits the system. He is a guy who I can see produce on special teams and on offense in this team. Just get everything together, and I think he would be a solid fit. Give him another year, and let's see what turns around with it. And let's focus on the elephant in the room, because I see Chiefs Kingdom incomplete, and I mean complete chaos when they see that Sky Moore has made the initial 53-man roster. I tried to tell y'all a couple days ago, this was gonna happen. Brett Veach just does not close the door on first, second round, or any draft pick on their rookie contract. It's very rare. You really, really got to mess up. And Sky Moore hasn't done that. Now, has he produced like a second round pick? No, not by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. But if we just look at it as Sky Moore being the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver, they are in a way better position than they were last year. And Sky Moore isn't going to be put in a position to be wide receiver 1, 2, or 3, if 4. So that is something positive as well. Best believe, too, he's going to see a lot of special teams package. And it's crazy to say, because when he was drafted 2 years ago, that was something he never, ever did. And now he's looking like he really did look like a very solid returner in the preseason. You could tell it's something he's been studying and trying to get better at. So that's solid as well. Dave Toub is going to try to get him heavily invested there. And like I mentioned, this is the initial roster. There were wide receivers released today that I have my eye on, and I know Brett Veach does as well. And if he feels like he can get one of them to fit the wide receiver 7 role instead of Sky Moore, Best believe that's a possibility. But let's not act shocked that Sky Moore made this team, because it really was always going to happen. Can we stop talking about the doom and gloom for a second? Let's focus on a great story that has finally come true. We're going to the running back room as we have a new RB2. Maybe not. But we have a new fullback, and Carson Steele has made the Kansas City Chiefs' initial 53-man roster. And honestly, I think he is here to stay. I think this is a great signing, and it's interesting to see that the Chiefs listed him as a running back, because that is huge. Because the Kansas City Chiefs don't got that much depth in the RB room. It's Isaiah Pacheco, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and you'll throw in Carson Steele. They did cut Deneric Prince, unfortunately, who I think they will try to stash on the practice squad, but they need another vet out there in the running back room, because if you're going to solely depend on Clyde Edwards-Helaire to back up Isaiah Pacheco, I just don't find that highly likely. So I expect either tomorrow or the following days, the Chiefs will have another veteran in that RB room. But going back to Carson Steele, I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think he's going to see the field quite often. And we know one thing, that the Kansas City Chiefs offense struggled really mightily last year and for previous years is in short yardage situations. And even on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, we know the Kansas City Chiefs don't do quarterback sneaks, which I completely hate. Now you got this bulldozer. You got this alligator king out here. He is always going to get that 1 yard. And we know Coach Reed loved to do that with Burton, loved to do it with Sherman. Well, now Steele looks like his go-ahead short yardage situation type of guy. And I'm just so excited to see what he can produce in next year. I'm not saying he's going to be a 500-yard rusher. I'm not saying he's going to be a 300-yard rusher next year. What I am saying is every time he touches that football field, you best believe electricity is going to be flowing through Arrowhead. And then my last notable cut that I wanted to mention, which there are plenty. I know I missed a lot. That's why Chiefs Kingdom, I want you to jump in the comments. I want you to let me know what was your highlight move or disappointing cut that the Kansas City Chiefs have made today. And let's go back and forth and let's discuss and let's see how this roster will shape out. Or let me know who you feel the Kansas City Chiefs will sign in the next coming days, because it's just getting started. It's about to get crazy. But zoning in on that last cut that I want to focus on is the Kansas City Chiefs finally released Lucas Niang. And I don't mean to say that in a negative fashion, but this has seemed like an ongoing experiment for this right tackle position that was never going to come into fold, and he was just never going to live up to what Chiefs Kingdom and all of us expected. And now he's officially not a Kansas City Chief. And I kind of find it surprising a little bit, because one, I forgot he was on the roster, and two, I just thought he was always going to be there because he was always a raw guy, and I felt like Coach Reed, the offensive line coach, could finally get something out of him. Well, they finally right their wrongs and they let him go. Now, and I forgot it completely. So Chiefs Kingdom, I'm going to need you, because I forgot the player's name, but he won that backup right tackle position. I'm drawing a blank, so please let me know. But I don't even think it was really a competition. I don't think Lucas Niang did much to earn that role in the last 4 or 5 years. And Jawan Taylor is still your starting right tackle. The Chiefs are solidified all around the board. And with that, those are my top notes coming off of the roster cut down, as the Kansas City Chiefs have made it to their 53-man initial roster. With that, I'm going to check out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. Y'all take care. Peace.